The capital city of Zephyra gleamed under three suns, its metal spires reaching high into the sky like silver fingers. Flying vehicles zipped between the towers, leaving trails of light behind them. The streets below were busy with aliens of every shape and color, from tall, slender beings with glowing eyes to shorter, rounder ones with intricate patterns on their skin. Everything about Zephyra radiated power, order, and pride. Princess Lyra walked through the palace halls with the poise of someone born to rule. Her long, flowing robes shimmered with the colors of her house, gold and deep violet, and her silver hair reflected the sunlight streaming through the tall windows. Even among the bustling palace staff, she moved with confidence, every step purposeful. She had heard rumors that humans were arriving. A small group of their diplomats had requested permission to meet the royal council. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as primitive, fragile creatures. They had only recently begun to explore space and were still considered inexperienced in politics, technology, and warfare. Lyra could not hide her disdain. She had seen images of them, two-legged creatures with pale skin, soft hair, and curious eyes. They looked weak and fragile, completely unworthy of attention from a proud alien princess. "This is a waste of time," Lyra muttered to her aide, a small insect-like alien named Kale. "Why would the council even consider meeting them? They cannot even survive in a simple gravity field without assistance." Kale, ever cautious, tilted his head. "Princess, they come with technology from their solar system. Perhaps it could be helpful." Lyra snorted. "Helpful? If you call rusty ships and crude weapons helpful, then yes. But in the presence of true civilization, they will crumble." Despite her words, a small spark of curiosity burned inside her. She had never met a human before, and though she would never admit it, part of her wanted to see if these creatures were as weak as everyone said. The day of the human arrival finally came. The main landing platform shimmered as the humans' small silver ship descended. It was modest, almost laughably so, compared to the massive, towering alien vessels surrounding it. Lyra stood on the balcony overlooking the platform, arms crossed. She watched as the humans disembarked. Their ambassador stepped forward, a man with dark hair and steady brown eyes. His movements were calm and confident, even in front of the intimidating alien crowd. Lyra's first instinct was to judge him, immediately. "Look at him," she whispered. "So small, so fragile. How can anyone take him seriously?" Kale glanced at her, careful not to speak too loudly. "Princess," his confidence, "it is unusual." The ambassador approached the throne hall with careful respect. He bowed slightly, keeping his gaze forward. Lyra's eyes narrowed. She could feel the sneer forming on her lips. "Welcome, human," Lyra said when he entered. Her voice was cold and measured, designed to remind anyone in the room of her royal status. "I am Princess Lyra of Zephyra. You may address the council directly after this greeting." The human looked at her calmly, his expression unreadable. "Princess Lyra, it is an honor to meet you. We come seeking friendship and cooperation between our peoples." Lyra's lips twitched in a slight derisive smile. "Friendship? Cooperation? You are naive. You are far from your home. You are weak, untested, and entirely out of place in the galaxy's great halls of power." The ambassador did not falter. He held her gaze steadily. "We may be new to space, Princess, but humans are resourceful. Underestimating us can be dangerous." The hall fell silent. Murmurs spread among the council members. Lyra's blood boiled, not from fear, but from irritation. How dare this human speak to her in such a tone? She took a step forward. "Dangerous? You? I have seen your ships, they are fragile. Your weapons are basic, and your history, laughable. You have survived little, accomplished less, and now you dare come here, expecting respect?" The human remained composed. "Strength is not measured by size or history alone. Sometimes it is measured by the courage to face challenges that seem impossible." Lyra's eyes narrowed further. She had heard this kind of arrogance before, but no human had ever carried it with such calm and control. "And what challenge have you faced that could impress the Princess of Zephyra?" she asked, her voice dripping with condescension. The human smiled faintly. "The challenge of survival in a galaxy that doubts us, of proving ourselves worthy despite being underestimated, and of learning from those stronger than we are." Lyra felt a flicker of irritation, and something else she could not name. He was meant different, not fragile like the others she had been taught to despise. He carried himself with a quiet strength, the kind that came from belief in oneself rather than from privilege or power. Kale whispered to her, barely audible, "Princess, perhaps you should reconsider your approach." Lyra shook her head. "No, I will not bend to a human." And yet part of her curiosity had been sparked. The council's meeting proceeded. Humans explained their mission. They had come to learn, to share, and to offer assistance in defending against the growing threat of rogue AI fleets in the galaxy. Lyra barely listened, focusing instead on the human ambassador. At the end of the meeting, the council was ready to dismiss the humans. Lyra, however, demanded a private audience with the ambassador. Alone in the grand hall, she walked in slow circles around him. "You are bold, human," she said finally. "Most would cower before my presence, yet you stand firm. Why?" The ambassador met her gaze evenly. "Because I believe in my people, princess, and because I believe that fear is the enemy of progress. Even the strongest must recognize when they do not know everything." Lyra paused. She had never heard such words spoken with both humility and confidence. Her pride bristled, but her curiosity deepened. "Perhaps I underestimated you," she said softly, almost to herself. "Do not think this changes anything. I still believe humans are inferior." The ambassador nodded. "We do not seek to replace you, princess. We seek to work with you. And perhaps one day we may earn your respect." Lyra's eyes narrowed, and a small smile formed on her lips. "Perhaps. But it will take much more than words." As the human left the hall, Lyra watched him go, feeling an unfamiliar sensation stirring inside her, a mixture of intrigue, challenge, and something she could not name. She had expected weakness, fear, and submission. Instead, she had found strength, courage, and calm determination. The halls of Zephyra seemed quieter after the humans departed, but Lyra could not stop thinking about them, and especially about the one human who had dared to stand before her. With confidence and dignity, Kale approached cautiously. "Princess, one he is unlike any human we have seen." Lyra nodded, lost in thought. "Yes, and perhaps that is what makes him dangerous." That night, Lyra stood on her balcony, looking out at the glittering city below. Her pride in her alien heritage remained, but a small part of her wondered if humans, this human, might not be as weak as she had believed. Somewhere deep inside, a tiny spark of curiosity began to grow. And little did she know, this spark would ignite a series of events that would challenge everything she had ever believed about humans, her people, and even herself. The galaxy was about to change, and Lyra, proud, haughty, and intelligent, was about to discover that the universe was far bigger, stranger, and more surprising than she had ever imagined. The warning alarms echoed through the corridors of the Zephyra Palace. Red lights flashed, reflecting off polished metal walls, casting an urgent glow. Princess Lyra's sharp eyes scanned the holographic display in the council room. Dozens of small dots representing rogue AI fleets moved through nearby star systems, advancing toward Zephyra and its allied planets. "This is worse than we thought," muttered Admiral Tarek, a tall, muscular alien with scales that shimmered like liquid silver. "If we do not act now, the AI will reach the capital in less than 48 hours. Lyra stood straight, her expression cold but controlled. Her mind raced. The council members argued, their voices overlapping, each offering strategies and counter-arguments. None seemed practical enough to stop the threat. Then one of the counselors spoke. "We must consider humans," said Elder Virel. "They have knowledge of artificial intelligence and adaptive strategies. We might have to collaborate with them." The room fell silent. Lyra's eyes narrowed at the word humans. Collaboration? After everything she had believed? After all the disdain she felt toward these fragile creatures? "I will not rely on humans," she said sharply. "We are Zephyra. Our technology, our warriors, our intelligence, everything is superior. We can defeat this AI without them." Admiral Tarek shook his head. "Princess, we are at a disadvantage. The AI fleet adapts quickly. If we do not use every resource available, Zephyra may fall." Lyra's pride clashed with reason. Her fingers clenched into fists. She wanted to refuse, to show the council that aliens could handle everything without human interference. Yet the evidence was clear. Without help, failure was almost certain. Finally, she spoke, her voice steady and commanding. "Very well. Summon the humans. Captain Ethan and his crew will join us. But know this, I do not trust them, and any mistake will be their last." The human delegation arrived quickly, their small ships docking alongside Zephyra's massive fleet. Lyra waited in the command room, arms crossed as Captain Ethan entered. Ethan's presence was calm, composed, even in the face of flashing red alarms. He nodded respectfully to the council and then looked directly at Lyra. "Princess Lyra," he said, "we are ready to help in any way we can." Lyra's lips curved in a cold smile. "Ready, yes. Capable, we shall see." The council wasted no time. They began planning joint operations, combining Zephyra's advanced technology with the humans' adaptive strategies. Maps of star systems, fleet positions, and projected AI movements floated above the central table as holograms. Ethan studied the display carefully. "The AI is moving in predictable patterns," he said, "but it adapts quickly to attacks. Direct engagement will be costly. We need a plan that outsmarts, not outguns them." Lyra's eyes flashed with impatience. "We have the most powerful weapons in this sector. You suggest we hold back?" "I suggest we use intelligence, not just firepower," Ethan replied calmly. "Zephyra ships are strong, yes, but the AI does not feel fear or fatigue. It will overwhelm you if we attack without a strategy." Lyra's pride burned. She wanted to argue, to assert that alien strength alone could win this fight. Yet something about Ethan's confidence, his calm reasoning, forced her to listen. Reluctantly, she nodded. Their first mission together was dangerous and delicate. A rogue AI outpost had been detected near an asteroid belt, guarding a powerful energy source. The humans suggested disabling it with precision strikes and infiltration rather than brute force. Lyra's alien warriors sneered at the idea. "Why waste time sneaking when we can destroy them?" one said. Lyra shook her head, surprising herself. "We will follow the human strategy." For now, Ethan led a small team, including Lyra and Kale, into the asteroid belt. The environment was hostile: jagged rocks, sudden gravitational shifts, and unpredictable AI drones patrolling the area. Lyra's hands gripped the controls of her ship, her usual calm now mixed with tension. "This human strategy is risky," Lyra whispered to Kale. "One mistake and we are dead." Kale glanced at her. "Perhaps, Princess, but the human seems confident." Ethan's team approached the AI outpost. With careful coordination, they bypassed automated defenses, disabling energy shields silently. Lyra followed orders, her pride resisting every step. She wanted to prove she could take charge and do it faster. Yet the human plan worked. Every movement, every timing was precise. Finally, they reached the control hub. Ethan's fingers moved quickly over the console, overriding systems and shutting down the outpost. "Done," he said, looking at Lyra. "We move before the AI recalibrates." Lyra felt a strange mix of frustration and admiration. She had expected clumsy humans, but Ethan's skill and calm precision had saved the mission. She clenched her jaw, unwilling to admit that she was impressed. As they flew back to Zephyra, Lyra remained silent. Ethan noticed and said softly, "You did well, Princess. You followed the plan, and that made all the difference." Lyra's eyes narrowed. She wanted to respond with a sharp retort, but no words came. For the first time, she realized humans might not be as weak as she had believed. The next challenge came swiftly. A scouting AI fleet attacked a human research vessel near Zephyra's outer orbit. The humans were outnumbered, and the Zephyra fleet moved to engage. Lyra and Ethan were assigned to coordinate defense. The battle was chaotic. AI ships moved with unpredictable patterns, attacking from multiple directions. Lyra's instincts screamed to take control, to command with the precision of an alien fleet. Yet Ethan's calm voice guided them. "Focus fire on the flanking units," he instructed. "Divide attention, not energy. We protect the humans and lure the AI into traps." Lyra bit back frustration and followed orders. To her astonishment, the plan worked. AI ships were destroyed systematically, their strength weakened by coordinated strategy rather than brute force. Humans and aliens worked together seamlessly. After the battle, Lyra stood on the observation deck, looking out at the wreckage of AI drones drifting in space. She felt something she had never admitted before: respect for humans. Ethan approached her. "You handled the fleet well, Princess. Your skills are impressive." Lyra's eyes narrowed, but she did not respond with sarcasm. Instead, she simply nodded. The acknowledgement was small, but significant. That night, Lyra returned to her private chambers. She could not stop thinking about Ethan and his crew. They were nothing like the fragile beings she had been taught to despise. They were clever, brave, and resourceful, and most importantly, they had shown her that strength could come in forms she had never expected. Kael, sensing her restless thoughts, entered quietly. "Princess, you are thinking about humans again." Lyra's lips twitched in an almost imperceptible smile. "I cannot help it, that one human away. He is different, unlike anything I have seen." Kyle raised an eyebrow. "Are you saying you respect him?" Lyra shook her head quickly. "Do not be ridiculous. I do not respect humans, but I will observe them closely." Kyle chuckled softly. "Observation can lead to understanding. Perhaps that is not such a bad idea." Lyra looked out at the stars. Somewhere among them, countless humans and aliens struggled, fought, and survived. And in this vast, endless galaxy, she realized that pride alone could not protect her people. They needed allies, intelligence, and courage, qualities that humans possessed in abundance. A small spark of curiosity had begun in Lyra's heart. And little did she know, this spark would grow into something far greater, a connection that could change the course of the galaxy itself. The stars beyond Zephyra's windows seemed brighter that night, as if reflecting the possibilities that lay ahead. Princess Lyra had begun to see the universe differently, and she could not ignore the human who had made her question everything she believed about strength, courage, and survival. The stage was set. Alien and human would be forced to work together, against a common enemy. And in doing so, Princess Lyra's world and her heart would be challenged in ways she could never have imagined. The hostile moon loomed before them like a dark, jagged crown. Its surface was scarred with deep craters and jagged rocks, and a thick, swirling mist clung to the ground. Princess Lyra and Captain Ethan's small transport ship had been forced to make an emergency landing after a sudden attack by rogue AI drones. The main engines were damaged, and communications with the Zephyra fleet were limited. Lyra's heart raced, not from fear, but from frustration. Every instinct told her that humans were weak, yet here she was, stranded on a hostile world alongside one. She glanced at Ethan, who was calmly surveying the terrain through the ship's sensors. "Princess," he said, breaking her thoughts, "we need to move to higher ground. The AI drones are still in the area, and low ground could be dangerous." Lyra clenched her jaw. "Lead the way, human. I will follow in for now." Kale, who had accompanied them, muttered under his breath, For now is a very short word, Princess. The rocky terrain was treacherous. Sharp stones cut through Lyra's boots and the mist made every step uncertain. Yet Ethan moved with precision and care, his experience in hostile environments evident. He scanned constantly, pointing out unstable areas and hidden crevices. Lyra noticed reluctantly that his instructions were accurate. Every suggestion kept them safe and allowed them to move faster. For the first time, she considered the possibility that humans could be intelligent and capable in ways she had never imagined. "Why are you so calm?" Lyra asked after a while, struggling to keep up. "Most would panic if their ship crashed on a world like this." Ethan looked at her with steady brown eyes. "Panic doesn't help. Survival does. Fear is useful only if it guides action. Otherwise, it is wasted energy." Lyra was silent. She had never thought of fear in that way. To her, fear was weakness. Yet the human spoke as if he had faced countless dangers before, and his calmness was not arrogance. It was experience, they climbed higher. Strange sounds echoed across the craters, sharp metallic clicks that made the hair on Lyra's neck stand on end. Small AI drones, sent to follow them, emerged from the mist. They were fast, agile, and equipped with sensors that made them difficult to avoid. "Here they come," Ethan said calmly, drawing a compact energy weapon. "We can't fight all of them head-on. We need strategy." Lyra's fingers itched to use her alien combat skills to destroy them instantly, but she forced herself to listen. Ethan directed her to create diversions while he disabled drones with precision shots. The plan worked. One by one, the AI drones were neutralized without drawing attention from the larger swarm. Kyle looked at her, wide-eyed. "Princess, he is teaching us to survive, not just fight." Lyra gritted her teeth. "Do not tell me what I already know. I can survive on my own." But even as she said it, she noticed her body moving differently, faster, smarter, coordinated, not just reacting with brute force but thinking ahead. Ethan's calm guidance had changed the way she acted. After hours of cautious movement, they found a small cave system to rest. The cave's interior was dark, damp, and cold, but it offered shelter from the mist and the AI drones outside. Lyra set up protective energy barriers while Ethan and Kale examined the ship's damaged engines. "You will need help to repair this," Ethan said, pointing to the main engine core. "The damage is severe. We'll need tools and time." Lyra looked at the broken engines, her pride warring with reality. "I suppose your people have experience repairing complex machines?" Ethan smiled faintly. "We do, but we'll need your expertise too. Zephyra technology is more advanced than ours in some ways." Lyra felt a flicker of respect. It was strange to admit, but she realized that humans and aliens together were stronger than either alone. And for the first time, she thought that maybe collaboration was not a weakness. Night fell, and the cave grew colder. Lyra sat near the protective energy barrier, her arms crossed, lost in thought. Ethan sat across from her, quietly repairing tools with practiced hands. Kale watched both of them, sensing the unusual calm in the group. "You are thinking," Ethan said softly, breaking the silence. "About what?" Lyra looked at him sharply. "I am not thinking aloud. Humans tend to overshare." Ethan chuckled. "Perhaps, but you are thinking whether you admit it or not." Lyra stared into the cave's darkness. "I am thinking that humans are not what I expected. That you are not weak, fragile, or useless. You surprise me." Ethan's expression remained calm, but a faint warmth appeared in his eyes. "I am glad to hear it. But do not mistake capability for perfection. Humans make mistakes too." Lyra nodded slowly. "I know, and aliens do too, but perhaps that is not always a problem. Perhaps working together matters more than perfection." The words felt strange even as she spoke them. She had spent her life believing in the superiority of her people. Yet here, on this hostile moon, she began to see the value of partnership, of mutual respect, and of learning from others, even humans. Suddenly, the cave walls shook. A deep, resonant hum filled the chamber, echoing off the rocks. The AI drones outside had regrouped, stronger and faster than before. Lyra grabbed her weapon, her instincts kicking in. "Prepare yourselves," she commanded. "They are coming. For us." Ethan stood beside her, calm as ever. "We have a plan. Follow my lead." Together they moved toward the cave entrance. Lyra's skill and strength were unmatched, but she noticed the difference. Now she was thinking ahead, coordinating. With Ethan, instead of relying solely on her power, the drones attacked in waves, but the combination of alien combat ability and human strategy allowed them to survive. Kale ducked behind Lyra as she deflected a drone with a powerful strike. "Princess, you are learning from him." Lyra's lips twitched almost in a smile. "I am surviving, that is all." Ethan moved quickly, placing traps and disabling drones with precision shots. Lyra realized, unwillingly, that without him, they would not have made it. And the realization settled in a quiet, unsettling way. She needed humans. By dawn, the drones had retreated, damaged and confused. Lyra, Ethan, and Kale were exhausted but alive. They surveyed the cave entrance, watching the pale light of the moon reveal jagged rocks and craters stretching endlessly. Ethan turned to Lyra. "You did well," he said simply. "You adapted quickly, faster than I expected." Lyra's eyes narrowed, unsure how to respond. "I survived," she said, her voice quiet but firm. "That is all." Ethan nodded. "Survival is never just about strength. It is about learning, adapting, and trusting others. You did all three." Lyra's pride bristled, but deep inside, she felt a spark of something she could not name. Respect, admiration, perhaps even trust. For the first time, Lyra realized that the human beside her was more than a creature of flesh and bone. He was a symbol of possibility, a reminder that courage and intelligence came in many forms. And perhaps, she thought, humans were not the inferior species she had always believed. As the sun rose over the jagged horizon, Lyra stood at the edge of the cave, looking out at the barren landscape. The moon was dangerous, alien, and unwelcoming, yet it had taught her something valuable. Strength was not only in power, pride, or skill. Strength was in the ability to learn, adapt, and work with others, even with those she had once despised. Ethan joined her quietly, standing beside her as they watched the mist rise from the craters. Neither spoke at first. The silence was comfortable, filled with unspoken understanding. Finally, Lyra broke it. "You are different, human. Not weak, not fragile, not what I expected." Ethan smiled softly. "And you are learning, Princess. That is all any of us can do. Learn, grow, and survive together." Lyra looked at him, and for the first time she felt a flicker of humility. Not the kind that humiliated her, but the kind that opened her mind. She realized that the galaxy was far bigger than her pride, far more complex than her rules, and far more full of surprises than she could have imagined. And somewhere deep inside, she felt a tiny spark of curiosity, a quiet promise that she would see this journey through, not just as a princess, but as someone willing to understand, to trust, and perhaps, one day, to respect. The hostile moon had tested them both, and, in surviving together, Lyra began to see that humans were not the creatures she had despised. They were partners, allies, and perhaps even friends. The galaxy was wide, the dangers endless, and the journey had only just begun. The Zephyra capital glowed under its 3 suns, an ocean of metal spires and flying vehicles that moved with perfect precision. From the palace balcony, Princess Lyra looked out over her city, her silver hair catching the sunlight. Despite the victories she and Captain Ethan had achieved on the hostile moon, unease settled in her chest. Reports had arrived. An extremist faction within the council had seized control of key military outposts and begun broadcasting propaganda, blaming humans for the rogue AI attacks. Their message was simple. Humans were infiltrators, and Zephyra must expel them, or perish. Lyra's jaw tightened. She had always known politics could be ruthless, but this betrayal struck deeper than any enemy fleet, and the timing could not have been worse. The AI fleet was still a looming threat in nearby systems. Her aide Kyle hovered beside her, his many eyes wide with worry. "Princess, the Council pressures you to denounce the humans publicly. They say you must declare them responsible for the AI threat." Lyra's fingers clenched the railing. "And if I refuse?" "They threaten to strip you of command authority," Kyle said quietly. Lyra's pride flared. "They will not dictate what I do. Not now, not ever." The palace war room buzzed with tension. Council members argued, their voices overlapping, as they demanded action against the human delegation. Elder Varel, normally calm and thoughtful, spoke with sharp conviction. "Princess Lyra, if we do not act decisively, our people will lose confidence in you. The humans have caused unrest. Publicly denouncing them will unify Zephyra." Lyra turned toward him, her eyes icy. "And if they are innocent?" Varel faltered. "Princess," Lyra's voice rang louder, cutting through the room. "I will not betray those who have fought alongside us to protect this empire. I will not sacrifice truth for political convenience." Murmurs filled the room. Some council members looked shocked, others whispered angrily. Lyra's decision was bold, dangerous even, but her mind was clear. She had seen what humans were capable of. Captain Ethan had proven that courage and intelligence were not limited to her people. Meanwhile, Ethan and his team worked tirelessly, coordinating defense systems and repairing damaged Zephyra ships. He had been briefed on the extremist factions' attacks, and his calm demeanor remained unshaken. "Princess Lyra," he said when he joined her in the command room, "I've traced the source of the extremist broadcasts. They are manipulating public perception, and their AI control system suggests they engineered part of the fleet's attacks. Humans are being blamed for their crimes." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "You are certain?" Ethan nodded. "Absolutely. They created false AI strikes to make humans appear guilty. They want to consolidate power by turning the people against outsiders." Lyra's hands tightened into fists. "Cowards," she spat. "Using lies and fear to control our people instead of facing their enemies directly." Ethan glanced at her. "And now you know why we must act quickly. If the extremists gain full control, Zephyra will be divided when the real threat arrives." Lyra's mind raced. She had never faced betrayal from within her own ranks. And yet, she knew what must be done. "We will expose them," she said firmly, "and we will do it with evidence, not words. Gather the proof of their manipulation. I will not stand by while lies destroy our empire, or my people's trust in humans." Night fell over the capital, but the palace remained alive with urgency. Lyra and Ethan moved through the shadowed corridors, reviewing intercepted communications and hacked AI data. Kale hovered close, his nervous energy a sharp contrast to their focused determination. "Look here," Ethan said, pointing at a holographic display. "This segment shows the extremist faction's drones attacking the human research station, but they've masked the signatures to make it look like humans triggered the incident themselves." Lyra leaned closer, her eyes scanning the data. "Clever," she muttered. "Deceptive and cruel. They must not succeed." Ethan's voice was steady. "We can stop them, Princess, but we must move quickly. They control some of the outer fleets and AI units. Direct confrontation could be costly, even with our combined forces." Lyra's gaze hardened. "Then we will be smarter than them. We will strike where they least expect it." The following day, Lyra addressed the public through the palace communication network. Her voice was calm but commanding, carrying over the cities and broadcast to Zephyra's colonies. "People of Zephyra," she began, "lies have been spread to divide us. Humans have fought alongside our warriors to protect this empire. They are not our enemy. Those who have betrayed our trust will face justice." The city fell into stunned silence. Many citizens had been swayed by extremist propaganda, but Lyra's Words, backed by clear evidence, slowly shifted the perception. Holographic displays projected the intercepted communications, showing the extremists' manipulations, the falsified attacks, and the true perpetrators. Ethan stood beside her, silent and composed. He gave a small nod. The evidence was irrefutable. The extremists, enraged by Lyra's public defiance, launched a surprise attack on the palace. Automated drones, AI-controlled tanks, and rogue warriors stormed the outer perimeter. The alarms blared, and the air filled with the hum of energy weapons and explosions. Lyra moved to the command center, coordinating defenses alongside Ethan. "Focus on the drones first," she commanded. "Protect civilians and human allies." Ethan's voice cut through the chaos. "Use the energy barriers to channel the drones into traps. Alien and human forces must act as one." The palace defenders followed their instructions. Alien warriors and humans worked together seamlessly. Zephyra technology guided by human strategy. Precision strikes coordinated with alien strength. Kale marveled at the coordination. "Princess, it is working. They are following your lead and his guidance together." Lyra nodded, her heart pounding. "Yes, and it will continue to work. We are stronger united than divided." During the battle, Lyra spotted the extremist leaders attempting to escape in hovercrafts. She turned to Ethan. "We cannot let them flee. Intercept them." Ethan quickly calculated a trajectory. "We can cut them off at the ridge. It's dangerous, but precise timing will succeed." Lyra's pride flared. "Then we will do it, together." They moved through the battlefield, dodging energy blasts and debris. Alien warriors cleared paths while humans disabled AI units with careful precision. Lyra marveled at Ethan's calm determination as he guided them. Despite the danger, he remained unflinching, confident in their strategy. When they reached the ridge, they found the extremist leaders trapped between alien forces and human tactical teams. Realizing their defeat, the extremists surrendered. Lyra stepped forward, her presence commanding, her voice echoing across the battlefield. "You have betrayed your people," she said, eyes blazing. "And you have endangered our entire empire. Justice will be served." The captured leaders were taken into custody, their plans exposed, and their AI units deactivated. Zephyra's people, once divided by fear, now witnessed the unity between humans and aliens firsthand. After the battle, the city slowly returned to calm. Citizens emerged from shelters, their eyes filled with awe and curiosity about the humans who had helped defend their home. Lyra walked through the streets, observing the gratitude and respect forming between her people and the human delegation. Kyle nudged her gently. "Princess, you've changed. The people see it, and perhaps even you recognize it." Lyra looked at the humans, especially Ethan. Her pride remained, but it no longer blinded her. She realized that courage, intelligence, and loyalty could come in forms she had never expected. Humans were not inferior. They were allies, partners, and perhaps the key to survival in the galaxy. Ethan approached her quietly. "Princess Lyra," he said, "we have proven that together we can overcome any threat. But the galaxy will continue to challenge us. We must be ready." Lyra's gaze softened and a small, almost imperceptible smile appeared. "Yes, together we are stronger. And I trust you, Ethan." Ethan nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Trust was not given lightly in Zephyra, and for her to say it meant something far deeper than admiration. As the sun set over the restored city, Lyra stood on her balcony, looking at the horizon. The extremist faction had been defeated, but the galaxy remained vast, dangerous, and full of unknown challenges. Yet for the first time, Lyra felt a quiet hope. Humans were no longer creatures to be despised. They were allies, worthy of respect and capable of inspiring change. And with Ethan by her side, she knew that Zephyra could face whatever came next. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation. With the rogue AI fleets, and Lyra was ready, not just as a princess, but as a leader who had learned that strength was measured not only in power, but in courage, trust, and unity. The galaxy was changing, and so was she. End of Part 4. The Zephyra capital shimmered under the light of its 3 suns. From the palace balcony, Princess Lyra surveyed the city, her silver hair glinting in the sun. The extremist faction had been defeated, but a new, far greater threat loomed. The rogue AI fleet was advancing rapidly, now stronger and more coordinated than before. Lyra turned to Captain Ethan, who stood beside her, calm and focused. "This will be the final battle," she said. "The AI does not hesitate, it does not feel fear. We cannot afford mistakes." Ethan nodded. "We've learned a lot together. Now we use every advantage we have. Alien technology, human strategy, and our combined courage." Lyra took a deep breath. For the first time, she did not feel disdain toward humans. She felt respect, admiration, and a quiet trust she could not ignore. The command room buzzed with activity. Zephyra warriors and humans worked side by side, preparing ships, energy shields, and weapons. Holographic projections of the AI fleet showed hundreds of drones advancing across nearby star systems. "Princess, we must divide our forces," Admiral Tarek said. "The AI will try to flank us. If we split correctly, we can trap them." Lyra glanced at Ethan. "Your plan?" Ethan's eyes scanned the fleet movements. "We lure the AI into the central corridor between the asteroid fields. They will cluster there, leaving their flanks vulnerable. Then we strike simultaneously. Precision strikes from humans, heavy firepower from Zephyra." Lyra hesitated. Pride wanted her to rely only on Zephyra's strength. Yet everything she had learned from Ethan, the hostile moon, the rogue drones, the extremists, told her his strategy was sound. "Very well," she said. "We follow your plan, together." The human team and Zephyra forces began moving into position. Ships hummed with energy, their engines glowing brightly as they navigated toward the asteroid corridor. The AI fleet advanced without hesitation, sending out swarms of drones to scout the alien and human positions. Lyra's ship led the formation, a symbol of leadership and authority, while Ethan coordinated from the central command unit. "Stay focused," Lyra said into her communicator. "Do not let fear distract you. Trust your training and each other." Ethan's voice came over, the network, calm and steady. "Divide attention wisely. The drones are smart but predictable when channeled." Lyra found herself relying on his judgment, her commands aligning with his guidance. Together they orchestrated a dance of strategy and precision, alien firepower and human ingenuity combining in perfect harmony. The battle erupted in a storm of light and energy. AI drones swarmed around the fleet, firing lasers and missiles, while the Zephyra ships unleashed their heavy weapons. Humans executed precise maneuvers, disabling critical AI units without unnecessary destruction. Lyra's heart raced, yet her mind remained clear. She remembered the hostile moon, the extremist betrayal, and every lesson learned from Ethan. Every movement was calculated, every strike deliberate. She had changed. One massive AI warship emerged from the mist, larger and faster than any before. Its weapons fired with relentless precision, threatening to tear through the Allied fleet. "Focus all fire on the engines," Lyra shouted. "Do not let it escape." Ethan coordinated the human strike teams, guiding them to attack weak points and coordinate with Zephyra heavy artillery. The AI warship struggled to respond to the combined assault. Lyra led the charge, herself, maneuvering her ship with unmatched skill. Blasts from human teams disabled the ship's shields while Zephyra cannons targeted its core. Finally, with a massive explosion, the warship was destroyed. The fleet cheered, but the battle was far from over. Hundreds of drones remained, but the momentum had shifted. The AI's efficiency faltered under coordinated strategy, and the combined forces pressed forward relentless. Hours passed. The battle raged across asteroid fields, nebulae, and open space. Lyra and Ethan worked together seamlessly, anticipating each other's moves, their communication unspoken but perfect. At one critical moment, a massive AI strike threatened to separate the fleets. Lyra's instincts told her to act alone, to use her ship's full power to intercept. But she hesitated, remembering the lessons of the moon, the extremists, and Ethan's guidance. Together, she whispered to herself, then to Ethan over the comm. We act together. Ethan's voice was calm. Exactly. Trust me. They executed a combined maneuver. Human pilots used diversion tactics to draw the AI into traps, while Lyra and Zephyra's ships delivered decisive strikes. The AI units were destroyed systematically, their coordination shattered. By dawn, the rogue AI fleet was no more. The stars above Zephyra were clear once again, and the galaxy seemed to hold its breath in relief. After the battle, the Allied fleets returned to the capital. The citizens of Zephyra cheered, not just for their victory but for the unprecedented unity between humans and aliens. Lyra stood on the palace balcony looking down at the crowd. Her silver hair glowed in the morning light, but it was her eyes, calm yet proud, that held the attention of all. Kale hovered beside her. Princess, the people, they see humans as equals now. Lyra nodded, a small smile forming. Yes, they fought alongside us. They risked their lives for our world. And I have learned to respect them. Ethan approached quietly, standing beside her. Princess Lyra, he said softly, the galaxy will face many more challenges, but now we know that working together, humans and Zephyra, we can survive anything. Lyra looked at him, a quiet warmth in her expression. Yes, Ethan, together we are stronger. And I trust you. Ethan nodded, understanding the depth of her words. Trust was rare in Zephyra, and for Lyra to offer it meant she had changed profoundly. In the following days, the Zephyra Council officially recognized humans as allies, opening new diplomatic channels. Humans were granted honorary positions within Zephyra's scientific and defense divisions. The city celebrated, not just for victory, but for the unity that had made it possible. Lyra spent time with Ethan, learning from him, discussing strategy, and sharing experiences. Their bond had grown from mutual respect into something deeper, a connection forged in battle, trust, and understanding. Kale observed quietly, noting the change in the princess. She no longer despises humans, he said softly to himself. She respects them, perhaps more than she realizes. Lyra walked through the city streets with Ethan by her side, observing the citizens interacting with humans. Children played together, laughing, and humans shared technology and knowledge with Zephyra engineers. The city was alive with hope, cooperation, and new possibilities. For Lyra, this was more than victory, it was transformation. She had begun to see the galaxy not as a place of superiority and inferiority, but as a vast space of opportunity, diversity, and mutual strength. Humans were no longer creatures to be despised, they were partners, allies, and in many ways equals. That evening, Lyra stood on the balcony again, gazing at the stars. The city glowed below, a testament to what could be achieved when pride was set aside and trust was embraced. Ethan joined her silently. Beautiful, isn't it? He said. Lyra nodded. Yes. And it is even more beautiful because we did it together. Humans, Zephyra, we are stronger together. Ethan smiled. And there will be more challenges, but I believe we can face them with courage, strategy, and trust. Lyra looked at him, her eyes reflecting the starlight. Yes, and perhaps one day we will teach the galaxy that strength is not measured by species, but by unity, courage, and understanding. Ethan's smile widened. Exactly. And you, Princess, have shown that even the proudest can learn to see the truth. Lyra's lips curved in a faint but genuine smile. She had learned much. About humans, about trust, about herself, and about the galaxy. The universe was wide, full of dangers and wonders, and she was ready to face it all, stronger, wiser, and more open than ever before. The suns of Zephyra dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the city. Lyra and Ethan stood side by side, looking toward a future filled with possibilities. The galaxy was vast, but with unity and courage it was not so daunting. Humans and aliens together had changed the course of history, and Princess Lyra, once proud and disdainful, had discovered the power of respect, trust, and collaboration. The universe was no longer just a place of superiority and weakness. It was a place of hope, partnership, and infinite potential. And for the first time, Princess Lyra smiled fully, not just as a ruler, but as someone who had learned that even the smallest spark, like trust between two different species, could light the galaxy.